Valley Newsline for the week of January the 28th, 2007. Hello, I'm your host, Ron Whitlock. On the program and in the studio with us today, Carlos Cascos, Republican, Cameron County Judge, the first Republican county judge out of the Brownsville County seat, serving since about 18 years ago when that post was held by Republican Tony Garza, now the U.S. Ambassador to Mexico. Judge Cascos?
Ron, how are you?
Good to have you on the program. Thank you for coming, taking time out of your busy schedule, everything you're doing at the Cameron County Courthouse. Appreciate you being with us. Now, the Rio Grande Valley Partnership brought the legislative tour, which they do every time there's a regular session of the Texas Legislature, the 80th session of that body. Many of those individuals, about 27 in particular, including one senator, came to South Texas to find out what's going on in South Texas. Most all were interested, obviously, Judge Cascos, in immigration, the fence, border security, and all of those things. Now, we met up with those state representatives as they were leaving the Rio Grande Valley from the Valley International Airport. The most important interview that we did was with David Swinford, who is the Vice Chairman of State Affairs of the Texas House of Representatives. A Republican out of Dumas, Texas. He told us he came to the Valley with one concept, one idea about immigration and those issues and those bills also. They're going to be coming before his committee. He said he left with a totally changed opinion. Here's that interview. So, Representative, your comments and thoughts about the Rio Grande Valley Legislative Tour. Rio Grande Valley Partnership Legislative Tour.
Well, it was excellent. It's very eye-opening to someone as far away. My district sort of Amarillo to Alaska, so we're about as far away from here as you can get. And it's very eye-opening. You hear our constituents say build a fence and all this sort of stuff, and then when you come down and see the consequences of that act, you know better than to support that. I will probably, I chair state affairs, so I'll probably either carry part of that bill or it'll come to my committee. So it was very important that I come, and that's the reason I came, to learn more about things and seeing the economic impact that we have with our friends from the South and they have on us. So it's been very enlightening, and I'm glad I came.
Have you changed your mind basically by coming?
Changed my mind some on it, yeah. I didn't change my mind about needing a secure border, but I have changed my mind about how you should secure it and not to interrupt the commerce between the two. I mean, I supported NAFTA, so I need to continue to support that free trade between the two countries.
What percentage of your constituents in your own representative district do you think are in favor of a fence and a wall and those kinds of things?
I think about 90% is in favor of securing the border, regardless of what it takes. I think a lot of people think the fence is just do all kinds of things, but a fence is not the answer. So I think but my folks are very rational people. If they have the information correctly, they'll be supportive.
Now, Judge, here's a very influential, very important vice chair of the State Affairs Committee, comes to Rio Grande Valley. The Rio Grande Partnership has one opinion, one attitude about the undocumented immigrants from Mexico. Came here with an attitude about the fence, about immigration issues, and all of those bills that are going to be put in the hopper of his State Affairs Committee, dealing with should the children of Mexican nationals who come to this country not here legally, their children should be denied state benefits if they go to college. Many bills being filed with those kinds of things to be done to those people. If a renter, landlord rents to an undocumented immigrant, then they could have a fine. Many of those kinds of things are going to be discussed in this meeting of the 80th Texas Legislature. Important that he came, and the partnership brought him, and he came down and changed his opinions.
Well, absolutely. I think the chamber's got to be, the partnership's got to be complimented for taking this initiative. It's not the first time that this has happened, but we're certainly glad they did. Also, we want to thank the legislators and their families that took the time to come down to the Valley to get a firsthand look at what the Valley's all about. The position that this state rep came with, and then he leaves with a different opinion. I mean, I think it's good. I think everybody that is going to make a decision regarding border issues should come down to the border and look at what's really all about, not just rely on what they read about in the newspapers or what they see on TV.
Everything that I hear in talking to these legislators in the 3 days I spent with them on the bus was that this particular session could be a very stressful session as relates to the border because of what's going on with the attitudes that many, predominantly in your party, the Republican Party, have about the Valley, South Texas, and the border from Brownsville to El Paso. Now, we also talked with Senator Dan Patrick from Houston. He is a conservative Houston and Dallas radio talk show host. He's one of securing the borders. That's his #1 issue when he ran for the Texas Senate. He says he came, he listened, he talked with many people here in the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas during the tour, but he left unchanged, maybe emboldened, as to his positions. Here's that interview with Senator Dan Patrick. What have you learned during your 3-day visit tour of the border, and have you eased your opinion in any way that maybe were staunch in one way, and have they come to a little bit more of a middle ground by virtue of your tour here hosted by the Rio Grande Valley Partnership?
Quite frankly, what I have learned is that I think I'm right on target with what the people here want. I think that if I were an elected official from here and went out and gave campaign speeches or gave my speech to the Chamber of Commerce, I think people would agree with 90% of what I said. Again, as we said earlier in the interview, I think we all want the same. Secure border, and a guest worker program, know who's here, get rid of the bad people, don't let the criminals in. Most Republicans, and I'm one of those, don't want a wall from here to El Paso, but we want fencing and walls near major ports of entries where most illegals come in. Most Republicans, most Texans don't think we should kick out all the illegals in Texas, but they don't want another 10 million coming in. Our health care system, we have to have people that come in the emergency room with the ability to pay or some type of insurance. We cannot continue to give away free health care. We cannot continue to give away free education. And I think that everyone agrees with that. So I leave here, Ron, quite frankly, feeling really good that I'm in tune with what a lot of people believe. Not 100%, but with what most people believe here in the Rio Grande Valley.
So Senator Patrick came, he still left with somewhat the same basic attitude that he came, and that is the border needs to be secured. Your reaction?
Well, obviously, he's entitled to express his thoughts, but I think in time, everyone's going to come to realize that, immigration policy is not synonymous to border security, and that's something that I think a lot of folks are kind of tying together, that in order to have a strong immigration policy, we must have border security. That's not necessarily the case. We can have border security and still open up our doors to legal immigration. I will tell you that the wall that's been spoken about and talked about, that's not going to work. I don't think it ought to be built. And as I said, we have other issues that we can better use our money for than building a wall between here and Tijuana, California.
The show you did a couple of months ago here on Valley Newsline, I think you told this audience, this reporter, that you would rather build bridges than fences.
Well, I think my actual comment was something like this: if they can find $750 million to build a wall, certainly they can find $250 million to renovate and restore our levee system.
Rio Grande Valley Partnership brought the legislative tour to South Texas, going into the first opening weeks of the 80th Texas legislative session. Approximately 27, perhaps even more, state representatives and senators came from Austin to the Rio Grande Valley. We talked to some of those as they left from the Valley International Airport in Cameron County, Harlingen. Here's what they told us about their reaction to South Texas after having completed the tour.
I thought it was fascinating. I thought it was good to come down and see. I'd been down here before, but it changed everything to see things, and as I was seeing them, have my fellow legislators who are from here tell me kind of the things you don't see just with the visible eye, the things, the dynamics, the forces that are at work, and to be right there with my colleagues who know this area, who grew up in this area, who live this area, and to learn it from that perspective.
It's been a great time. My work has brought me down here once or twice over the last 3 or 4 years, but never for an extended period of time. So to get to talk to people, spend a little time, visit with them, look around. It's obviously been a lot of good food and meeting nice folks and seeing pretty country. It's been good for us. This trip's been going on for a long time. This has been my first chance to come. But obviously with the illegal immigration debate so hot and such a big deal, this trip has a new meaning. Politically, economically, this is the future of Texas. So we need to know about it, need to understand it, and want to deal with these issues in a way that helps everyone.
Well, I really like coming to the border, and in East Texas, we're becoming more and more Hispanic in our population. And when I come down here and see how the valley is, that I see Jacksonville in 10 years. So to me, it's like going and looking into the future and see how we get to deal with problems and see how we find solutions.
Well, this is my third trip, I guess, and it's always very enlightening. We hadn't been here in about 4 years, and it's been very interesting to see how much it's grown. My area is growing real rapidly, but I think this Rio Grande Valley area is growing even faster, and it's very enlightening. I was particularly interested in the desalination system. I had toured the original plant down in Los Fresnos several years ago, and it's really nice to see this pilot plant coming online and seeing some real progress in that area because water is the future of Texas, and there's a lot that we need to do.
I think this was a very informative tour. I've made many of the tours, but this one for me has been rather different. And what I mean by that is this. I learned a lot more this time than I learned the last. I think it has helped me to better understand the immigration issue. I think what we need to understand is things begin for Texas here in the valley. What comes through on that border affects us all throughout Texas. And I think that it's the beginning rather than the end. So I think we've got to do a lot of work, look more positively at the issue, make a determination how we can work better with Mexico and the people coming across the border from Mexico. We need to look at it from an economic standpoint. We need to look at it from a friendship standpoint. And here again, it begins with the border. How safe it is, that's an issue for me. I am greatly concerned, and I think we should do a great deal of looking very differently than what we've done in the past. I'm also proud of the accomplishments that the people of the Valley have made, how they've utilized funding from the state, how they've also partnership with others and used some of their own funding to change the way of life for the people here. Yes, there is a lot being done. There's still a great deal of poverty in this area that we need to work with. The better things are in the Valley, the better it is for all of Texas. It's sort of like Representative Pena says, we are one Texas and we should treat it all as one Texas. I look forward to coming to the Valley. I look forward to working with the people here, and I hope we continue to do things to improve the quality of life for the people in the Valley. Because when you improve the quality of life in the Valley, you improve the quality of life in Texas. So I thank the partnership for what it is they do, the money and the programs that they put together to bring us here so that we become aware of what's really going on in the Valley is greatly appreciated by me and my colleagues. Because without that, we have no other way of really seeing firsthand what it is that's going on here, what you do, and what we can do to help you better. So I want to thank the partnership for the continuance of bringing a group here. There's nothing like seeing it in person, being explained by the citizens of this great valley area. So I want to thank Bill Summers. I want to thank him for what he's doing to continue bringing us here because it's educational. Yes, there's some fun to it. There's a lot of work to it. We travel around many cities, and I guess riding on the bus is always great. But I think for the Valley, it's a good thing. But for the legislature, it's even better. Educational, and I appreciate it.
Obviously, the tour was an extremely successful venture put together by the Rio Grande Valley Partnership and President Bill Summers. Immigration, guest worker, are they illegals or are they undocumented immigrants? Now you watch many talk show hosts like Lou Dobbs, and they hammer on the illegal alien. And your reaction as an Hispanic to someone who says that and uses that term over and over again?
Well, I think there's got to be a differentiation between legal immigration and illegal immigration. I think I support legal immigration. I think when you have folks coming in illegally or through, other than our border checkpoints, you run the risk of allowing those folks that are not here to provide a service to come in. We've experienced that where you have gang leaders, gang members come in with groups of folks that want to better their lives, and they somehow find a way to infiltrate these little groups. So consequently, if we don't have border security and we don't control the influx of illegal immigration, we're jeopardizing the border security, and we're jeopardizing the health and the safety of our border residents, along with the rest of the state.
But the status quo for decades, Judge, has been the national government, the federal government, has basically just said, come on over, we'll catch a few of you, we'll send a few of you back because we need the workforce so bad, and our economy and our businesses need these workers so desperately.
I mean, this is a very complex issue, and I think, do you penalize the person that is trying to come over to better their lives, or do you punish those folks that are giving them gainful employment? What do you do? Who is it that you fine? Who is it that you punish? This is something that we're not going to solve today or tomorrow, and this is going to take a lot of compromise. And I think that if the economic situation does not get better in Mexico or other Central American countries, you're going to continue having an influx of illegal immigration.
If those who say send the 11 million who are here in the United States illegally, send them back on a bus to Mexico tomorrow, and therefore the 20 billion they're sending back to keep their economy alive and prop up their economy and their political stability, if that happened on the same day they got on the bus and went to Mexico, could we have an Iraq, third world country situation from Brownsville to California?
Well, first of all, it's highly unlikely that you'll be able to round up 11 million folks and send them over.
But if you did, and the 20 billion doesn't go back to Mexico to feed their families anymore, you're going to have a very...
You could, a lot of these second and third world countries have been on the brink of civil war for many times. They're not religious wars. They're class wars. But yeah, I think it's not too difficult to see that if something like that would happen, you would have a tremendous social war in Mexico along with a lot of the Central American countries.
Texas Governor Rick Perry came to the Rio Grande Valley, held a press conference at the McAllen Police Department, asking the Texas legislature for $100 million for border security. Here's the governor.
I've long believed that our border with Mexico is not our backyard. It's the front door to our nation and our state. And it's a gateway to trade. It's a gateway to opportunity, prosperity. All of you have heard me talk about that over the course of the last 8 years in particular. It's also an important front on the war against drugs and the war on terror. A more secure border makes for a more secure Texas. We've launched a statewide operation this week. Its code name is Operation Wrangler. Operation Wrangler is a statewide surge operation involving law enforcement at all levels and the Texas National Guard. It's the second phase of a border security operation that began last year with Operation Rio Grande. We're bringing tremendous force to bear with an enforcement presence of over 6,800 individuals, 2,200 vehicles, 48 helicopters, 33 fixed-wing aviation assets, and I believe 35 patrol boats. Up to 90 sheriff's offices, 133 police departments are all involved in this operation. We're covering the coast, the river, and the interstate highway system. And we have 12 armed security platoons composed of the Texas National Guard, the Border Patrol, and local law enforcement officers to cut off the common illegal crossing points. In order to continuously fund surge operations like this one in the future, I'm going to be asking the legislature to appropriate $100 million in border security this legislative session.
Now, Judge Cascos, you was there. You were invited to be there by the governor and his staff because you and he have a wonderful relationship. He appointed you to the DPS commission before you were elected Cameron County judge. Your reaction to what he's trying to do with this $100 million he's asking the Texas legislature to fund?
Well, I think it's obvious that I think that the governor has acknowledged on more than one occasion that he realizes that protecting our borders is principally a federal problem. However, we can't sit back, and he's not going to sit back and wait for the federal government to take an initiative. You know, he's thinking outside the box. This is the first time that I can think of where they've actually, you know, brought numerous entities together in order to combat, you know, and help border security. You know, combat illegal influx of illegal aliens, and you know, and combat border, you know, and help border security. You know, you got the federal, the local, and the state officials working together in a unified way. You know, it's a way that I believe will be a template, hopefully, for other states to utilize between here and California. The governor's always thinking outside the box, and you know, in better ways to help protect the citizenry along the border. This is a tremendous amount of manpower, a tremendous amount of fixed assets, a lot of equipment, all to protect the border and its residents. But at the same time, we have to keep in mind that you know, even Ann Richards many years ago said that, you know, that the border is not the back door; it's the front door, you know, to the United States. And I think Governor Perry is kind of thinking along those same lines as well.
United States Senator John Cornyn of Texas, ranking member of the Judiciary Committee's Immigration, Border Security, and Citizens Subcommittee, has now pressed U.S. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Michael Chertoff to extend the length of stay for LASA visa holders traveling from Mexico to the United States, full parity with our Canadian visitors. Now, Cornyn hosted a meeting with Secretary Chertoff in the Washington office of Senator Cornyn and Senator Hutchison last week. As you would remember, you're on Valley Newsline with Mayor Cortez of McAllen. It's a top priority to balance security with legitimate commerce and travel, said Cornyn following the meeting with Chertoff. Judge Cascos, how does it feel to fill in the chair that you had sought on more than one occasion throughout the year in Cameron County?
It feels good. I think we're, you know, first few weeks in office, we've been able to save the taxpayer about a couple $100,000 by cutting expenses and doing some things. We continue to develop policies. I think we've had 3 meetings so far, and we have yet to have anything other than unanimous votes on every issue that has come before us. I know there's a lot of skepticism about my ability or inability to work with the other members of the court. I think that's been diffused. I think we've been able to prove that you know, doing the right thing, I think people will follow. Doing the right thing, people will do the right thing as well. So we've been able to do that, and my compliments to the rest of my court for not only going along, but recognizing that my interest is the same as their interest, which would, you know, to benefit of Cameron County taxpayers. That's what it's all about.
And cutting expenses was one of the platforms of your campaign.
One of several, but one of the expenses that I committed doing was cutting my own budget, the county judge's budget, by at least 10%.
And you've done that.
We've already done that. And as a matter of fact, in excess of 10%, closer to 13%.
Congratulations, Judge.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming
Appreciate
and being with us. Thank you for joining us here on Valley Newsline. Till next time, adios.